Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. No intro needed today. We are live. Okay, we are live. We are live. Good morning. Welcome to Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. And we are getting up and after it, back at it Monday morning. Week 3 of our Without a Net journey. Week 1 was about showing up real. Week 2, speaking truth with love. And this week we're taking the next step because being authentic is important, speaking honestly important, but eventually we have to take all of that humanity and move it out to another person. This week is about fearless connection, and it begins with 2 simple words: reach first. Good morning. Hey, Jess is here. Good morning. Wow, Jess, my hands are freezing. It's freezing cold here this morning. And of course, I got myself all ready for the show and I get the call, Matt, Matt. Like, what? What's going on? Low air in the tires. And so it was just a little crazy this morning. When the temperature changes, Heather's on her way off to work, and I'm running upstairs trying to get a show started, trying to help her with tires. So it's just you and I, so let's catch our breath. How was your weekend? My weekend was great. As always, just full of stuff. It was actually gorgeous. After the smoke cleared, it was a gorgeous weekend here. Yesterday was just a beautiful day, perfect day, not too hot, all good. All right, let's get going. People join us. Sully's here. Jess is here. Where's Jess? I saw Jess. Now Sully's here. Okay. Sully, good to see you, buddy. A little crazy this morning, for sure. All right. Well, we'll just get rolling here on Kindness Rising Monday morning, 7:30 a.m., just like we do every day. There's Roseanne. Hey, Mom, ears up. I'm telling the Danda story. Tell the Danda story today. You can fill in the details, Mom. If I get anything wrong, you can fill in the details. This is how I remember it, though. I was 8 years old, and my family lost my grandmother at Arlington National Cemetery. It might not be the opening line for a heartwarming family story, but at least it didn't feel that way at the time. One moment we were watching the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and the next, the ceremony ended. The crowd was moving around, and Danda, that's a special name in our household, and in all over northeastern Pennsylvania, my grandmother was known as Danda, the name that my sister, her first grandchild, gave her as the pronunciation of grandma. But okay, so now we know we've got Danda set. The light rain started. Danda had disappeared. We're like, what's going on? I guess the adults were trying not to panic. Mom, you might have a perspective on that. Jerry Ginger, good morning. Welcome in, buddy. Glad to see you. People were searching, and after what felt like perhaps forever, we heard a voice. Matthew, Lisa, come meet my new friend. My grandmother was not lost. She had made a friend, because that's basically what Danda did. She reached first. Most of us want connection. We want good friendships, strong teams, healthy families, real community, but there's a small problem. Hello, 6-7 there, Ani Agostia. Everybody is waiting for somebody else to make the first move. We all want someone to be the first one to say hello or introduce themselves. We're waiting for someone else to send the message, to invite us to the table, to ask how we're doing, or to repair the relationships. Human beings, we're all human, and we desperately want connection. And yet we can stand in an elevator with 6 other people and suddenly just have to stare forward at the number 3. Looking at number 3, not going to make eye contact. Nobody looks up. Nobody speaks. Everyone silently agrees that pretending the other people don't exist is just the safest option for everybody. Because reaching involves risk. What if they don't respond? What if I misread the moment? A fearless connection, it doesn't make those fears disappear, but it means deciding the person in front of me matters matters first of all, and matters more than that just little uncomfortable moment. Someone has to smile first, someone has to ask first, and someone has to care first. Absolutely, someone has to reach first too, and that's what we're doing this morning on Kindness Rising. Reaching first, and I'll tell you more about my Danda story throughout the week. That's the format we're taking. I got one story, making it last 5 days, and keeping you going. Howdy, 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 Jerry Ginger. It is the power. You have the power of howdy, Jerry. All right. Let's get to our Who in the World contest. That's what everybody really wants to know, Jerry. Jerry, I have a feeling that's the only reason you come here is to show us how smart you are with our Who in the World. So let's start with our first clue. Get a clue. This guy began learning music on the violin before eventually picking up the guitar that would define his career. A violin virtuoso. Actually, I learned, all right, good start to the story. Mom's agreeing. I'm going to get the comments on for today for a while. Let's see. I feel like people really want to see each other's comments. Yeah. This person, I learned about them. They learned the violin. They actually learned the violin because their father was a violin, I guess, maestro, master, whatever you want to call it. I learned that when I was learning about this person. All right. But we'll keep going with our clues. 3 clues throughout today's episode. The first one was he played violin before guitar. 3 clues before the end of today to see who we're talking about on Kindness Rising. But first, as we always do, I knew something was missing today. It's a little too quiet behind me. Let's see. Does anybody hear that? I don't hear it. Do you guys hear music playing? Let the music play. You won't get away. Somebody say yes if you hear the music, because I don't hear it on my end. It's not Frank Zappa. Hi, Mirastemi. Welcome into Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. I'm giving you a high five. Subscribe to the channel, and let's talk. Let me know if you're hearing music. But regardless of music, these people need no music. They are AFS International Cultural Programs. I've actually talked about them before, but I'm talking about them today because I learned more about this organization, and it's fascinating to me. First, let me tell you that they help young people study and live in communities around the world, often with host families whose language, customs, food, and daily lives may be very different from their own. And at first glance, it sounds like a cool travel program, but there's deeper work and connection that's happening. Because it's easy to form opinions about people from a distance, but it's harder to reduce someone to a stereotype after you've eaten dinner with them at their table. It's harder to believe that those people are completely different from us after you've laughed with them, heard their worries, met their grandparents, or discovered that they also like to leave their wet towels on the bathroom floor. Kids, if you're listening. But for real, that's what it is all about. Curiosity, changing perspective, and AFS seeks to build a more peaceful world by helping people develop the knowledge and understanding needed to cross cultures. That's today's Kindness Spotlight, AFS International Cultural Programs. And I guess it's not but, you are here. You hear, H-E-R-E, yes. All right, here's some music. Yep. Okay. I'm glad you guys hear it. You hear Frank Zappa, Jerry? No, it's not Frank Zappa, our Who in the World. Here's what I found out that was cool about AFS International, I didn't even know the name, AFS Intercultural Programs. They actually began as the American Ambulance Field Service during World War I, talking about people who volunteer to get on boat with ambulances in 1915 to go to Europe and help out in the effort there. And it continued in World War II, apparently. But after World War II, something different happened. I forgot the guy's name. I saw his name, but I forgot it already. This guy was the executive director, the CEO at the time, whatever, and decided after World War II he wanted to do something different. Understood that the experience for these ambulance drivers that went over and supported the war effort was about much more than just supporting the troops. It was about learning culture and meeting new people and having those experiences. So he wanted his children basically to have that. So he started a program, an exchange program. Just started exchanging with families, people they met over there, ambulance drivers sending their kids back and forth to the people they met in Europe, and it has become an exchange program that has existed for 70 plus years. That's pretty cool, turning the war effort into something really, really lasting and real lasting connection. I think that's a pretty cool little spin story that AFS had on their work. Good morning, Jess. I thought I saw you in here earlier. Maybe I was hallucinating, but you never have to apologize. I'm here. When you're here, then we're all here. But no, I appreciate you, Jess. I appreciate that you would even think to apologize for being late. You're giving your time to me, and I appreciate that. So whatever it is, let's keep rolling and keep coming back. All right. People tell me they hear music. I don't know what's going on my end but today. But that's okay, as long as you hear it. As long as you hear it. Do you want to hear about the wait that happened today? This is a good one because, again, it's regionally local for me here. I love this one. I've experienced this history, been to the place where this event happened on July 20th, 1848, 1848, not 1948, 1848. So we're talking about 180 years ago at this point. Is that right? My math is terrible. Anyway, first women's rights convention was going on in Seneca Falls, New York, about an hour and a half up the road from where I am. And the participants were debating their Declaration of Sentiments. And it called for equality for women. And one proposed solution even made some of the supporters uncomfortable based on where they were in the world. Women should have the right to vote. Today that seems obvious to us, but at the time it seemed so radical that some attendees worried that it might derail the entire feminism women's movement. Then an African-American man stood up, Frederick Douglass, we know him, we've heard of him, right? Frederick Douglass, the abolitionist, who was there as a newspaper publisher and the only African-American known to have attended the convention. He could have decided it wasn't his fight. He had every reason to focus on only the injustice that was happening for Black Americans. Instead, he recognized another group whose voices were also being denied. He argued that women were entitled to the same political rights he saw for himself and others, and he reached across that difference. He stood beside people whose experience was not identical to his own. And after a big debate, that resolution supporting women's voting rights passed. To me, that's a perfect historical example of fearless connection. Not simply noticing another person's struggle, but moving toward it and using your voice, standing beside them. Frederick Douglass looked beyond the categories of race and gender and saw human beings whose voices deserved to matter. And sometimes reaching first means introducing yourself. Sometimes it means offering a friendship. And sometimes it means standing up and saying, this may not be happening directly to me, but I see you and I will not remain silent. Wait, that happened today. That's Frederick Douglass. Wait, that happened today. All right, Jess. Well, you're making up for lost time in the comments, Jess. I appreciate you. Did you hear the first clue? I think this might be in your wheelhouse. based on what I know about you. Our first clue was our person began. I can't hear the music, so I don't know when the music is playing. Began learning music on the violin before eventually picking up the guitar that would define his career. Second clue, this may be the one that clinches it for some music historians. His band played one of the most memorable sets at Woodstock before it even released its debut album. Most memorable sets at Woodstock before its debut album was released. That's clue number two. Number two. All right. Yep. Can I get clue number one off the stage, please? Thank you. My producer's having a little trouble on the buttons today, but he's still here. He's still with us. All right, let's move on. We're going to move into one of my kind of, it's not favorite, but I'm definitely using this segment intentionally. Let's just say that I mean, I like to get out here and talk about my thoughts on things, and those thoughts are based on learning and education and experience and all that. And so I like to talk about other people's work that has influenced me and is sort of the subject matter, subject matter experts in these areas that I rely on. And one of them is Simon Sinek. You guys know Simon Sinek? He uses the phrase circle of safety. Circle of safety describes what happens when people believe those around them genuinely care about their well-being. Not that this isn't the, what is it, the cone of silence? No. I'm thinking Get Smart. We're talking about the circle of safety, not the cone of silence. But anyway, here's the thing. The circle of safety in organizations, it's not done by putting a poster on the wall that says, we love people or people first or whatever. It's created through behavior. When someone notices a new employee standing alone and invites them into the conversation, or when a leader asks a question and actually waits for the answer, when someone remembers the name of the person who cleans the building instead of treating them like a part of the furniture, those little signals, they communicate something important. You're safe here, you're not invisible, and you matter to us beyond the function you perform. Amy Edmondson's research on psychological safety points to us in that same direction. Teams perform better when people feel safe taking interpersonal risk. Not only the risk of challenging an idea or admitting a mistake, but the risk of reaching toward another person, showing curiosity, allowing the professional mask to slip off just long enough for two human beings to actually meet. We think that connection comes first and creates safety, but many times the order has to be reversed. Someone takes a small risk and the risk creates a moment of connection, and that connection begins building safety, a safety that makes deeper connection possible. But someone has to begin that cycle and someone has to reach first. Jerry and Jess saying hello in the chat. Yes, hello, hello, hello. All right. So Simon Sinek, Amy Edmondson, these are the experts, firsthand experts. People are doing the research, the writings. I'm doing the research and writing too, following in their steps. But I always like to give credit where credit is due when I learn something. And we're going to hear more about Simon and Amy. Oh, I think what people really want to hear about is Danda. More Danda story. All right, let's get further into the Danda story and how it connects to our subject. Arlington National Cemetery. People out there been there? Do you love it? I lived in DC for it's almost 10 years. Arlington was one of my favorites. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, time is flying. I just looked at the time. Okay. Let's get to the Danda story because that's why we're really here. It was the spring of about 1980, I think, Mom, right? We piled into the Gran Torino station wagon, probably the old green crocodile, big old hood for a family trip to Washington, D.C. I was 8. My older sister was right beside me, and my parents were likely navigating with a paper map and optimism and probably Grandma Danda sandwiches. I don't remember all the details, but we definitely didn't have a GPS, and Danda and Pop Pop were definitely with us. But Danda was small in stature, but enormous in everything else. She moved through the world as though she'd been personally invited to it, and she fully accepted every single invitation. She was the epitome, the example of not performing warmth and not having a strategy for networking, just noticing people, talking to people, really seeing people. Because when Danda looked at you, you felt like you were the most interesting person she'd encountered all day. And for those moments, you probably were. But that morning, we were watching the changing of the guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier, the ceremony. Precise, solemn, mesmerizing. When it ended, the crowd dispersed and light drizzle started falling, and we realized we could not find Danda at that point. My sister and I stayed in place while the adults searched and the worry grew, and then we heard it. Lisa, Matthew, come meet my new friend. Her new friend, okay. Standing beside her was the young soldier, square jaw, steely gaze, wearing the same dress uniform, the dress uniform, actually, of the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment. His name was Dexter, and he was a member of the Old Guard, the elite soldiers who served as the sentinels at the tomb. They dedicate enormous time and a discipline to preparing for ceremonies that most visitors watch for a few minutes before moving on to the next stop. Most people see the uniform, but Danda saw the person wearing it. She introduced herself. She told Dexter that she would pray for him every day, and then she asked about his living quarters. And so what happened? Dexter offered to show her. And because she was Danda, of course, she took the invitation. She said yes. My grandmother had convinced a sentinel from the Old Guard to give her a private tour of his barracks and show her the rituals of his work. One of the most solemn, protocol-driven places. Danda walked through the door. Not because she demanded special treatment or that she had some planned, brilliant approach. She just reached first. She looked beyond the ceremony, the uniform, and the role to the human. She told him she saw him, and he opened the door. Years later, I asked Danda how she managed to make it all happen. Her explanation was simple. I saw him and introduced myself. I told him I would pray for him and asked about his living quarters. He offered to show me, and I couldn't pass that up. That was it. That's the framework. See the person, say so, stay curious. And one of the more remarkable parts of this story is that that wasn't the end. Danda and Dexter, they exchanged letters for 20 years. Grandmother from a Pennsylvania coal town and a young soldier from the Old Guard. Two people whose lives had no obvious reason to connect. But 20 minutes of genuine attention became 20 years of friendship for them, and that's how it works. Danda was not trying to create an opportunity. She wasn't trying to collect contacts. She didn't introduce herself to Dexter because he might be useful to her someday. She introduced herself because the person there was worth knowing. It's the same thing we can do in our lives. To have the intention to make the connection. That's it. The intention to make the connection. That is the story. There will be more throughout the week, and time is flying. I did not time my content today well. It happens, and I want to get to the who's who. So I will talk more about Danda and the interpersonal risk that she took that produced a friendship that lasted 20 years. I will talk more about how we can do it together. Use that lesson to be the one to say someone has to reach first. Why not me? All right. Let's get to our clues. Time is flying. It's okay. We're in good shape now. Who in the world? Clue number one. He began learning music on the violin before picking up the guitar. His band played one of the most memorable sets at Woodstock. Absolutely. Before his debut album was even released. And the last clue brings us up to the 1990s, where 30 years after Woodstock, the Supernatural album earned 9 Grammy Awards and produced a massive hit featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. That's pretty smooth stuff. There's Jess. I had a feeling that might be yours. All right, let's get to our kindness compass. Are you still hearing the music out there? Today's kindness compass is simple. Usually I give 5 or 3 things. Today is one thing. Find one opportunity to reach first. Send the message you've been waiting for someone else to send. Introduce yourself to the person you keep seeing but have never met. Invite someone into the conversation. Accept an invite to a conversation. Ask a question that communicates genuine interest rather than polite efficiency. You don't have to create a 20-year friendship today. You only need to create one moment in which another human being feels seen. Remember Danda's framework. See the person, say so, and stay curious. Accept the invitation, because connection begins when someone takes the first interpersonal risk. Today, let that person be you. That's it. That's today's. Yep. That is today's kindness compass. All right. And that's it. We're winding down. We got through another Monday here together on Kindness Rising, just like we do every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, on the Mornings in the Lab Network. Getting on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends today at 8 o'clock, and hanging with us throughout the week with Cheryl Raphael Whitaker and the Let's Talk Supply Chain show with Sarah Barnes Humphrey, and all the good times on the Mornings in the Lab Network. All right, yes, today's mystery person is Carlos Santana. His birthday is today. His music crossed borders long before a corporate mission became, well, let's try that again. Santana's music crossed borders long before crossing borders became a corporate mission statement. That's what I was trying to say. His music reminds us that connection does not require sameness, and that sometimes the most powerful thing we can create begins when different voices are willing to listen and respond to one another. So Carlos Santana is today's Who in the World. And that brings us to the thread. Let's pull that thread with the Grateful Dead. Oh, I just made up a rhyme. Let's pull that thread with the Grateful Dead. This week's Grateful Dead anchor, you're going to hear a lot about it. Uncle John's band, Robert Hunter, begins with the simplest and most demanding question ever placed in a song. Are you kind? Not are you impressive? Are you productive? Are you important? Are you agreeable? Are you awkward? No. Are you kind? And kindness in Hunter's sense is not passive politeness. It's attention. It's curiosity. It's the same willingness to see the stranger in front of you as Danda saw. Oh, my phone is ringing. Hello. Is it Danda? That would be weird. Anyway, you never know what'll happen here on Kindness Rising. We're talking about the willingness to see the stranger in front of you as someone whose life is worth knowing. Strangers, are a big part of it. All my bells and whistles are going off. Anyway, the Grateful Dead did not build their community through a traditional marketing plan. They built it through human connection. One show, one parking lot, and one shared song at a time. And Deadheads didn't just simply follow the band. They found one another. They built traveling villages based on shared experiences, mutual support, and the belief that there was always room for one more person. And that's exactly what Danda understood. You introduce yourself, you ask about the living quarters, you write a letter, and then you keep writing. Yep. Are you kind? Danda was. Fearlessly, completely, and without an agenda. The rest of us are still learning, but tomorrow we'll continue the Danda story and explain what it takes to move beyond being liked and find the courage to be genuine. Until then, don't forget to stay uncommon and stay kind. Don't wait for somebody else. Reach first and have a great day.